Is Anthony Davis going to remain in Dallas with the Mavericks past the February 5th trade deadline? I seem to think he's going to. Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. Jeffrey Cooperstein here. Hope everyone enjoyed their weekend. The Mavericks do play later today on MLK Day against the New York Knicks. We'll have you covered with everything surrounding that game. No live show today, but of course, if anything crazy happens, you know where to find it right here on the channel. We're going to talk about AD here and another player on this Mavericks team who I think really needs to step up or risk getting traded this offseason. But before we do that, just wanted to thank you guys for getting us to 33,000 subs here on the channel. Appreciate all of the support you've given me throughout the last couple of years or so. Tell your friends about us. Make sure you share this video. Share it to all your fellow Mavericks friends, fans, family, whatever the case may be. Go share it so we can make this the largest Mavericks community here on YouTube. Greatly, greatly appreciate all of the support. All right, so Anthony Davis. Is he going to stay? Are the Mavericks going to trade him? As time goes on and as we get closer to the trade deadline, I really do think that Davis is going to end up staying with the Mavericks. And I think that's for a couple of reasons. I just don't think that his trade value at the moment is as high as it needs to be in order for the Mavericks to get what they want out of a potential trade. When he's played this year, he's been, pretty solid, averaging 20.5 points and 11 boards, almost 2 blocks a night. The shooting numbers aren't great for Anthony Davis, where it's just 27% from 3 and 51% from the field. And you would hope that field goal percentage would be even higher because most of his attempts would be around the rim. Look, he's had a couple of really, really good, some even great games here this season so far. They just come few and far between, and his string of games comes few and far between. My favorite stat, and I'll continue to say it until he breaks the streak, he never played in more than 5 straight games with the Mavericks. I believe he played in 5 twice. He has never gotten to 6. And it doesn't look like he's going to do it for the rest of this season either if he stays in Dallas. His value just simply isn't high enough right now for the Mavericks to trade him and get what they would deem as requisite for a deal. I don't think they're going to get multiple first-round picks. They'd be lucky to get 1 first-round pick at this point. So at that point, the Mavericks have to weigh whether or not they want to just get rid of him to get rid of him, or do they want to keep him and see what they can get in the offseason. We do know that there are teams with interest in Anthony Davis. The Atlanta Hawks, Toronto Raptors, Golden State Warriors, and Milwaukee Bucks have all been rumored and all been reportedly interested in trying to see what a Davis trade could look like, but to this point, there has been no concrete offer on the table to the Mavericks. There has been no advanced discussions with any of these 4 teams on the list. So, as we sit here 2.5 weeks away from the deadline, it does really feel like it's more likely AD is going to remain in a Maverick uniform for at least the rest of the season. A deal just doesn't look like it's close to materializing at this point in time. That can certainly change, like information changes on the daily, so of course, something new could come out tomorrow that makes it seem like AD will get traded. But as we sit right here with the information that we have at this current moment, I'm pretty confident that Anthony Davis is going to remain a Maverick past the trade deadline on February 5th. But you guys let me know down there in the comments, what do you think is the percent chance Anthony Davis gets traded? Scale it from 1 to 100 down there in the comment section. This will be at the top of the comments there on YouTube. So when you see it, go get your votes in. What is the percent chance AD gets traded before the trade deadline? I'll add that caveat in there as well. Right now, I would put it at about 27%, and I think that's as low as I've been in a while. I was always hovering around the 50-50 mark that he would get moved versus staying, but now I think it's gone down to the point where I'd be pretty surprised if a deal happened in the next couple of weeks. I simply just don't see it happening, but I do think the Mavericks will be busy with other potential trade candidates here at the trade deadline. You have Daniel Gafford, you have Klay Thompson, you have Naji Marshall, who I think could be on the trade block and be candidates to be dealt. All 3 of those guys could be used by other contending teams. Gafford obviously not having a great season and is dealing with an ankle sprain at the moment. He's dealing with injuries all year as well. But I do think Klay Thompson and Naji Marshall could both be guys that other contending teams look at as potential options to upgrade and bolster their rosters for contending runs. So keep an eye on those 3 names and, of course, Anthony Davis as well. But the Mavs really just do have to pick a direction here. Do they want to go full rebuild and build this thing around Cooper Flagg, or do they want to try to compete next year? If they choose the route of wanting to try to compete, it's not that bad of a roster on paper, and that's the problem with it. on paper, it's really not that bad. You have second-year Cooper Flagg. You'll have Kyrie Irving, who presumably will be healthy coming off that torn ACL. Dangerous assumption. Anthony Davis, if he ever plays basketball, which he doesn't. So, again, that's why it's on paper. You'll have the lottery pick in 2026, whoever that may be. Dereck Lively, we'll see if he stays healthy. He doesn't. Again, that's why it says on paper. Daniel Gafford, he doesn't stay healthy. You have Max Christie, who I'm excited about. Naji Marshall could be traded. Klay Thompson could be traded. Brandon Williams is an unrestricted free agent. So you have all of these guys who, if they are healthy and they're on the same roster, could make for a pretty decent run at it next year. I don't even have PJ Washington on this list, who we're going to talk about on the back end of today's show, who's starting the first of a 4-year extension this next season. So if the Mavs do decide that they want to give one more go at it with this current group of players, I wouldn't necessarily blame them for that. I do think that this roster could be a playoff team if everything falls into place. And that's what we said about it this year as well. If everything fell into place, they could be a playoff team. Well, everything didn't fall into place, and now you're looking at a top 10 pick this season. And that's the fine line that the Mavericks are going to have to walk, and I think they're going to walk it for one more year. We'll see if AD gets traded in the offseason. The same goes with a couple of other guys on that list if they don't get dealt now. But everything is up in the air for the Mavericks. I just wish they would pick a direction, but maybe they want to wait until they hire a new general manager to pick that direction. But as I said, the roster looked good on paper. Unfortunately, though, basketball is played on a court full of wood, not a court full of paper. So the Mavericks on paper look good. In reality, the situation is much more complex than that. All right, more coming on PJ here in just a moment and on Anthony Davis. But today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks, where it is a new year, where maybe you're starting a new routine or you're gearing up for the big game, which is in just a couple of weeks. PrizePicks can get you right where it is good to be right, with elite hoops action and high-pressure playoff matchups almost every weekend. The action never stops, and PrizePicks lets you take control. With the new social feeds feature, you can share PrizePicks with your friends, copy lineups from winners with a single click, copy lineups you like, or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow PrizePicks partners like us and tailor or fade our picks with just one click. You can play in all 50 states, including California, Georgia, and Texas, and they put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks accepts most major payment methods, making deposits into your account quick and easy this sports season. The big game in professional football is in a couple of weeks, but the big game in college football is tonight. Give me the more on Carson Beck pass attempts, the more on Malachi Toney receptions, and the more on Omar Cooper touchdowns. Very, very excited for that one tonight, and you can be even more excited when you play PrizePicks for that game. Download the app and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. One more time, that is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It is good to be right. What has happened to PJ Washington? I was talking to some people surrounding the Mavericks and over the last week or so, and just like, man, like the fall that PJ Washington has had this year is pretty shocking almost. Like he is just he does not look like himself out there on the court at the moment. And this is a guy who the Mavericks traded for in 2024 and was a big reason why they got to the NBA Finals. All of PJ Washington's numbers this season are down compared to what it looked like over the last couple of years. 14.5 points, 7.5 boards. The efficiency is down, especially from three. You look at what he did last year where he shot 38.1% from three. Yeah, he's kind of back to what he was for his career, which is in the low 30s, shooting just 31% this year. And the numbers don't do like the entire story justice here. He just simply hasn't played well. He's not finishing around the rim. Like those shots that you thought PJ was pretty automatic on, those floaters, the 8 to 10 foot jumpers around the lane that PJ would take and make with extreme frequency. Like Washington can't make those at a regular clip here right now. And he can't make a three consistently whatsoever. He's turning the ball over too much. It seems like he's lazy with the ball when he has it. So I just really haven't liked what I've seen from PJ this year. And it certainly presents a problem for the Mavericks because they signed him to a 4-year, $89 million max contract extension this past offseason. And signing him to that max deal means PJ is not eligible to be traded this season because his trade restriction gets lifted on March 6th. So he can't be traded this season. But in the offseason, I think you're looking at a prime trade candidate for PJ Washington. I really, really do. I mean, making 19, 21, 22, and 24 million over the next 4 seasons. Does he have a future here with the Mavericks? If he's playing like this, I really don't know if he does. And I think he would have some trade value in the offseason as well. So don't be shocked if PJ gets moved this offseason. Whether it's to a contending team, whether it's to somebody else, I don't know. But just keep that in the back of your mind that if PJ really doesn't pick his game up and start playing better and start playing how he was last year, I think you could see the Mavericks move on from PJ in the offseason. But you guys let me know to round out today's show. Would you trade PJ Washington this offseason? Type T for trade or type K for keep down there in the comments. Curious to hear what you guys have to say on PJ Dub, Mr. Stand on Business. Final word on today's show. And it got me thinking about how PJ isn't playing as well and Daniel Gafford isn't really playing as well as he would. It's almost like having someone on the team who makes other guys better is an important guy to have on your team. I said I wasn't going to get worked up about it. I got worked up about it. It's the worst trade in NBA history, and we all know it. And I'm going to continue to say it for eternity. So if you don't like that, well, this may not be the channel for you because I'm going to bring it up time and time again because when I get pissed off about it, I have to tell you guys about it. So look, you just have to have those guys on your roster that make people better. Luka simply made people better. I'm not sure the Mavericks have that guy on their roster at this point in time. Not saying Cooper Flagg can't be that guy, but he's not at the current moment. And the Mavericks are stuck between deciding whether they want to compete next year or a full-fledged rebuild around Cooper Flagg. All right, guys, that will do it for today's show. One more time, the Mavericks play in about 4 hours or so. So if anything happens with Mavs Knicks, we'll keep you updated right here on the channel. And of course, stay locked in because if somebody gets traded, you'll be notified right here.